Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Quantum Leap Futures Morning Leap session for Monday, August the 1st, 2016. Happy August. It is a Canadian holiday today, so happy holiday to all the Canadian friends. Each morning we come together to take a look at the market, macro to micro, take a look at the structure of the market, and then we drill down to our trade levels, our targets, and our hypotheses for the day. This is a subscription room, so if you're interested in checking it out, send me an email at quantumleapfutures@gmail.com. There's no website, there's no blog, it's not a commercial venture. We do this live go-to sessions in the morning, then we do live trading and analysis during the course of the RTH session. Before we move forward, please read through the disclaimer. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Any trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Please trade your own due diligence, your own trade plan, and doing your own risk metrics. All right, so just taking a look, first let's go to the news. It is a Canadian holiday, so all the banks and government is closed today in Canada. 9:45 Eastern, we have final manufacturing PMI for the U.S., and then 10 o'clock you've got ISM manufacturing PMI, construction spending, and ISM manufacturing prices. And there's loan officer survey, which is tentative. I don't know when that's going to come out. And that's basically all the news that we have. It is earnings season still, and we continue to have pretty decent earnings. We look at, we got 91 coming out after the close. No real big names though. A couple banks, some energy companies, nothing I could see that was a real big one. But before the market, ones that are out so far, you can see that a lot of them have been a beat. So earnings continue to be pretty strong going into this Monday session and then this week. And then we have lots of earnings the next 4 days. It's going to be a big week for earnings. Okay, let's take a look at what happened on Friday. Friday we went up and made a new all-time RTH high. We opened auction in range. They moved down to the value area low, and basically they failed at this LVN, couldn't get and hold below it, and then rotated up through value, broke out, and went and hit that 70.75 that we were looking for, 70 and a quarter, for the equalization of the Globex all-time high. And then we put a new one in, and then they came back down, and they basically fought the range and the value high on Friday. Overnight, we opened up, as I mentioned on Friday, that we expected that the market would go and make new highs on the breakout. Oh, I'm on the wrong page. And we went out and put a new Globex high in at 2177.75. So we've got this unequalized high again. I'm assuming that that we'll go and hit the 77.75. I just don't know if we're going to do it today. Each morning I like to take a look at the market macro to micro. I start with a monthly candlestick and a 9 EMA and a 20 SMA, looking for slope and separation, where it's being violated, where the continuations are. You can see beautiful uptrend violated at the end of 15 and beginning of 16, and now we're getting continuation with new highs. Moving down to the weekly, you can see that the trend is still very strong. We do have this very strong technical gap that still has to be closed on the weekly, but we continue to make new highs, which we continue to do until we don't. But the thought is at some point in time we're going to pull back at least into the 2120s. I'm looking at the 2114.50 still, but right now we've got a breakout The key level today is going to be that 72. If we can get above the 71.75, it could be continuation. The one thing we have to worry about is we've got this very tight range, that we've just broken out of in the Globex session. Remember, the first breaks, do have the possibility to be a false breakout. So, watch how they handle that 71.75 and 72 area. If they can get above it and hold above it, then I'd be looking for the continuation move above. But if they fail to get back above that 72, then we could take a trip down through the range, this tight range that we've seen on the daily. Our daily ATR has dropped now down below 19 points at full session. 20-day ATR is 1888. So we are compressing, but we don't know if we're going to get a false breakout and then a move down and then real breakout to the downside. So I'd be watching for a pullback into the 58, 59 level and see how that holds if we can't get above 72. So I'd be looking for a trip back towards that 67 and then the 60 and the 64 and a quarter microcomposite LVN, and then that 59 area. But right now we do have slope and separation on the daily. The trend continues to be up on the larger time frames. On the smaller time frames, beautiful FUBAR, Mr. Sneaky on the 1 hour, rolled over, and now we're below the 9 and the 20. We do have a naked cross here at 72. One of the reasons why I'm watching that 72. I skipped the 4 hour simply because it's just showing mainly what the daily is doing, that we've broken out and had our first breakout of this tight consolidation zone, but we're coming back to test the 9. There is a naked cross here, but it's not a real strong one. You can see that we crossed it several times right here. So even though this has got a naked cross here at 63.50, it's suspect because of the fact that we crossed back and forth. It's not a strong cross like this particular one, so not as strong a magnet. Going down to the 30-minute, you can see that we do have a start of a downward trend and slope and separation. We failed to get back above the 9 after closing the technical gap, and we're breaking down below it coming into the half-hour flip. Going to the 15-minute, same thing. We had the strong downtrend. We took out this naked cross right here, tried to get above the 20, failed, broke below the 9, and now we're getting possibility of a continuation pattern to the downside. And then in the 5-minute, you can see that we do have a naked cross here at 21.70. 50. I think that's going to be significant if we get a pullback and we get back above the 69. Look for them to at least go up there and test that, if not testing the 72. But you can see we've had the strong downward trend. They tried to start an upward trend, then failed, and we're getting continuation to the downside. Possible FUBAR Mr. Sneaky setting up here on the 5 minutes. So watch this half-hour flip. A move up to close the gap would take you up into the 21.69.75 area. So going to the structure of the market, basically shows the same thing. We broke out of this longer time frame microcomposite and this consolidation around this 2042 area with this undetermined fair value. There's still a lot of repair work to be done down there. And then we had our breakout day on the 8th, and then a gap up, a gap and go, another gap here, a little bit of a pullback, but basically consolidation and a move to create a possibility of a bull flag and a possible continuation if we can get back above that 71.75. Right now you have a significant composite CLVN. Below that, a pullback to the 2160 would be a high probability. And then 49 now is going to be our key line in the sand. It was our warning line, with 38 and a quarter being the key line in the sand. To me, they're now if we get back to the 49 and fail there, we're not likely to find buyers at the 45.50, and they'll come down and test the 38 and a quarter. And anything below that, I think we get to move back into the 20s and possibly back into the 50% breakout candle, 50% of the breakout candle here, and that's at 14.50. To the top side, we've got some measured moves. We've got the main target, which is going to be that 77.75 and the Globex all-time high that was put in overnight. Going and looking at the overnight, you can see that most of the distribution has been down below the 72. You've got a LVN here, Globex LVN at 72.75. So the safe level will be the 72.75 is what you want to hold. I'm going to bring it down and have this range between the 72. Now on the downside, I'm going to be using the 75, the value area high, rather than the 71.75, because I think that we could come down and bounce off that if we are above the range. I don't think the 71.75 is going to be as significant as the 70.75 or the 72.75. So I'm going to move this up so it shows it better. But this basically is a slush area for me for those basically 2 points. I want to be above 72.75 to get long, to make sure that, in fact, I wait for the breakout and then the pullback and try to get long off of it, but I won't try to get short until we get below the 70.75 and show that we're going to be in range. So the overnight high is the Globex all-time high. So basically, it's going to overlap itself, and that's our key target above range and value. And then our overnight low is we're putting one in. Looks like we're going to continue to put a new low in here, likely to come back down and test this 67 area, and we're probably going to open up somewhere in this upper distribution from Friday in around the VPOC or the value area low. So we can't put the overnight low in yet. I'm going to just mark it so that I know where we are, but likely going to have to adjust this as we move forward. And then there's another LVN at 75. So above there, I'm going to use 75 and a quarter as another trade area. And there's really nothing in here until we get down to the LVN from Friday, which also happens to be just below the value area low of Friday at 65.75. So that's going to be my next trade area. And then the main target below that is going to be the 63. And then we have another little LVN here at the 62 area. I'm going to use that as a continuation, and then the main target, of course, is going to be the microcomposite LVN. Really don't need anything here. Don't think we're going to get a VPOC shift. We might get a VPOC shift to 69.75, but right now it is 71.75. Basically, Friday's high. So move. If this doesn't shift, we should see a test of Friday's high with the stat of taking out and testing the overnight VPOC. So we've got that. That's all we need from there. So let's just expand this out here so we can get our lower levels. So 60.75 obviously is our main target below. And then we've got the 57.50 range low, and then really we've got this this move to Friday's low down here, which is a weak low, by the way, at 53.50. And then below that, I'd be looking and targeting that 50-50 with the 49 now being our key line in the sand, 49.25. Now, you'll ask, probably wondering, well, what's the, we've been using it as our warning line and our key line in the sand at 38.25. What's the difference? Well, the difference is that a warning line just tells us that, we've got some weakness showing up. It doesn't mean that I'm expecting failure if we get below it. I'm expecting, on a warning line to dip below it and test some levels and then see if we can find buyers and move up. A key line in the sand, I'm looking for failure here, a retest back up to it, and then another shorting opportunity for a bigger move down, and looking for that 38.25 with 46 and 45.75 being the next big targets below the key line in the sand. And then below that, we've got the 33 area. I've got a target at 35. It's been an area where the buyers were stepping in. And then the 33.75, 30.50, 26.25. The weekly ATR is running at 49, so off of the 21.77.75 less the 49 weekly ATR. Our weekly ATR is down target. Whoops. Is at 21.28.75. I don't think it's a factor today. What was that? 26. Yep. And then 22.25, 19, 18, and of course, what I've got my eye on, which is the 50% of the significant breakout candle down at 21.14. Don't think it's going to come into play today because of the tightness of the range, but we don't know because the breakout could expand our 20-period ATR. The downside ATR for the daily is 58. The upside is up here at 87.25, and that's one tick above our measured move at 87. So above the range, we don't have a lot to go by except for these measured moves. I want to just check the flex levels and see if there's any other measured moves we have to consider. Where are my flex levels? Nope. There's one at 82, 81.75. That one was on there. Why is it not there now? 81.75. So another measured move right there. That's a measured move. 211 to 68 to 627. Okay, so those are our levels. So right now, we are coming down here. We've got a Keltner lower line walk setting up. So we came down, tested the Keltner lower line, had a single Renko reversal, closed below the Keltner channel. So I'm looking for some weakness coming in and a possible line walk down into that 67.25, 65 area. My main hypotheses for the day. I'm expecting to open auction in range. I'm expecting a move down. My hypo one is a rotation down into the 67, 65, 75 and chop around there and rotate up. Maybe a dip down to 64 and a rotation up through value, up through the range, go and take out the all-time Friday RTH session high and then go up and hit the 77.75 as our main target and the equalization of the high, and maybe continuation wave later in the afternoon. So a open auction in range, a move down to the 67 to 65, maybe 64 and a quarter. Remember how important that 64 and a quarter was to us the last couple weeks. It's not as strong anymore. You can see that the CLVN has moved to 65.50 where it was at 64 and a quarter, and you got to give precedence to the shorter time frame and the value area low and the LVN of the Friday session. So we've moved that 64 and a quarter up, but it could come down and dip to it. But I'm expecting buyers to step in here and then rotate us up through and make a trip through value, out breakout, and then a push to those all-time highs. So that's hypo one. Man, these hypos have been so so the same for how many days now. But that's what happens when you're in balance. You're waiting for that breakout. You expect the auction to perform as it should, and as it should come down, find buyers, and then get the continuation pattern. Hypo 2 is a open auction in range, a push up, a false breakout, or a breakout to the 77.75, test the high, but somewhere between 72.75 and 77.75, finding responsive sellers and a push down through value, take out the 67 and a quarter, break, chop around at the 65, 64 level, then break and push down through to the 60 to 58 level, and then basically close in the lower distribution of Friday. So that's hypo 2, open auction in range, a breakout or a false breakout, responsive sellers, move down through value, chop around at the value area low, push down into the microcomposite, VPOC down at 67, and then close somewhere between there and 58. Maybe a late day probe to test Thursday's low at 53, but I doubt that. Hypo 3 is and this is where it's going to change a bit, because hypo 3 should be a push, a open drive or an open test drive, a breakout of the 72, 75, and a push up into the 77 and up into the 80s, and take out of these measured moves up here between 81 and 75 and 87. But that's going to be hypo 4. Hypo 3, which I think has got higher probability, is a open auction in range, push down, chop around in the 67, 65 level, and then fail, and then push through down to the 60 level, fail, and then push through and come all the way down here and test this 49 with a possibility of a late day probe down into 46. So hypo 3 is, chop on the open, push down, chop, fail, push down, 60, 75, chop, fail, and then a push through down into the 53 to 49 with a possible late day probe down to 46. So basically failure and a push down to test the low of the this low of this distribution zone down here between 54 and 49. And then hypo 4, which should be hypo 3 but is hypo 4, is a open auction, open drive or an open test drive, and then a push up, chop, and push up, chop, and then close somewhere up in the high 70s, if not high 80s. So basically a continuation day for hypo 4. So that's going to complete the pre-market session. I'm not going to do gold today, just simply because I haven't been trading much. I'm going to be very very selective with my trading. I'm going to go small today because I'm just coming back off holidays. I did do a little bit of trading in the holidays, but not much. Just some smaller stuff. So be safe. I probably will be around all morning, and then I'll probably skip out after the 1:30 and go and enjoy the rest of the holiday here. As always, trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.